Well, hello and welcome to the Mindset Mentor on Sauga 960 AM. I'm Tania Kolar, helping you cultivate a life you love. Your mindset is like a muscle that needs to be strengthened and conditioned. And so, right here, right now, is your mindset workout. Are you ready? Well, I tell you what we're going to do today is optimize your mind, body, spirit through holistic nutrition. I think the timing is absolutely perfect. So many people, myself included, has gained a little extra weight due to COVID. You know, it's the COVID-15. So if you've got the excess weight and you're looking for a way to start shedding those pounds, start feeling good, taking control back, and optimizing your mind, body, soul, feeling good, this is the perfect show to be tuning in. My special guest joining me today is a certified holistic nutritionist. She's also a personal trainer. She's been in the fitness industry for over 25 years. So she has a wealth of knowledge combined that's really going to help you to, find a meal plan, that's going to work for you. And what I love is that my guest has this program. It's the No Diet. That's kind of my favorite diet. And it's really about whole body health. And, nutrition is so much more than just the foods that you eat, whatever you're ingesting. It's all about how you feel, right? Fueling your body, fueling the soul, fueling the mind. So make sure you stay tuned for this hour. And what I want to do is say hello to my guest, Rosemarie Havsom, certified holistic nutritionist, actually, and personal trainer, also author of the book, Surviving the Pandemic. Wait till you hear the subtitle to this one. It's so funny. Disgusting remedies that could save your life. Awesome. So, Rosemarie, it is such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Tania. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to get some help and start getting rid of the COVID-15. Obviously during the pandemic, so many people have been hard hit in terms of the emotional impact, the mental health aspect. So I think that it's really key to make sure that we check in with ourselves on so many levels, not just the mental health, but the physical health and well-being, because it truly changes the quality of our life. And so we need those tools and tips that can help us really have a life that feels good and that helps us become the best version of ourselves. So let's talk about, first of all, how you got into the whole field of holistic nutrition. You're in great shape. I know that for you, it's really important to take care of yourself, and that's really wonderful. But for you, was that in your DNA? Were you born like that? Did you always have that? What for you was it? Because we need some help here.
Okay, well, I'll try to make a long story short. Okay, so the way that I was raised, I was born in England. So when my parents were raising me and my siblings, we were eating organic before I even knew that organic was a thing. It was fresh from the ground. It was, earth to table, farm to table. It was nothing like it is today. So being raised with that kind of a foundation really helped us develop what we needed to actually base our health and wellness and lifestyle on. So it was a lifestyle. And what I realized is that a lot of people, like my counterparts, when we came to Canada, I went to high school and university in Canada. And when we were here, I realized, the things that we'd taken for granted with the kinds of foods that we ate is not something that everybody knew about. So I wanted people to have some of what I have so that I could share it. And that's how I got into the business. So it was a lifestyle. I did track and field in high school and university. I was a national athlete. Don't ask me to run around the track right now because that's not going to happen. But I was in track and field. And so you had to eat well because that was a part of the lifestyle of being an athlete. So that actually boded well for me. And I noticed that on the off seasons when I was training in the gym, it was back in the day when I was the only woman in the gym working out. It was just me and a bunch of men. And I was literally the only Black woman working out in the gym. Okay, we're going back a few years, right? So from that, the women would come up to me, the few women that would come with their husbands or boyfriends would come up and ask me, oh, well, how do you do that? How do you lift that? What do you do? How do you stay in shape? And then I started giving them tips. And then I realized, ding, 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 oh, maybe I should become a certified personal trainer, because people kept asking me. I would tell them, but I wasn't getting paid for it, which was okay. But then there was more and more and more people asking me. So I thought, let me get my certification and I can help people. So I started off in the personal training area. And then what ended up happening was that then clients would come, they would work out with me, and then they would go and eat like a Big Mac and fries and a
Oh,
Diet Coke.
no. I didn't do all that hard work. Oh, no.
So then they would say, well, what am I supposed to eat? I'm not losing the weight. I'm not getting in shape. So I would say, okay, go home and eat this, this, and this. They would hear it, but they wouldn't want to make it. So then I started actually making it and giving it to them to go home and eat. Wow. They would do it. And then I said, look, I'm not going to do it all the time. So I got into catering. And then I was like, you know what? This is not really making sense. This is really labor intensive. Let me just instruct people and give them a written guide of how to eat. And that's how I got into nutrition. Then I went and got certified, studied about the biochemistry involved, and understanding how our bodies work to metabolize food. And that it just went from there.
Oh, I love that, and it's again that, turning your passion, into a career, and it's your way of life, and teaching other people that, you can feed your body the right foods to get that greater fuel. And so, it's interesting because you talked about it growing up and how the organic was more natural, and then coming here, all of the foods, and we definitely have a country that has a lot of processed foods, the ready-made foods, the drive-throughs that make life easy. And I think so many people are caught making the choice of the drive-through, not the best choices, having a big burger and the fries and maybe a milkshake to go with that, because why not?
Yeah.
It's easy. And I think now that, there's so many options, we can learn to replace some of that fast food in a different way. So let's talk a little bit about food prep and what your idea is around that. Because for me personally, I've noticed that when I actually prepare meals in advance, then I can definitely make healthier choices. And I was always that person of the last minute, I'm going to just order in, or I'm going to grab something that's ready made, or I'm going to get takeout because it's easy and I'm starving. Right. Yeah. And they always say, don't go to the grocery store when you're hungry. And that's why. Right? Yeah.
With meal prep, you're right. It makes it so that it's a conscious decision about what you're planning to eat. Mm-hmm. And that is the part of the mind element of mind, body, and spirit that I'm trying to bring to my clients to say, look, if you plan ahead, you can always know what you're going to eat. And then if you have to deviate from it or make some adjustment to it, you can do that as well. But I've also not made it so strict that you can only eat your pre-prepared meals. Mm-hmm. So I've given people tips and tools as well, and my manual about dying to live, how to boost your immune system naturally, to tell people that, when you're on the road, here are some healthier things that you can, healthier choices that you can make. And so that you don't feel like you're being deprived, you don't feel like you're pressed for time or under pressure to only eat when you go home. I've also told people, bring your food with you on the road. It's a little easier now, unfortunately for us, because we're all locked up with the COVID lockdown, rotating lockdown. So it's a little easier, but in some ways it's also a bit more challenging because people get bored easily as well. Mm-hmm. So preparing ahead of time, knowing exactly what your choices are, and shopping accordingly. So shopping with a list, definitely. Preparing the food ahead of time, and also giving yourself permission to have a little bit of a variation on what you're eating so that you don't feel stuck and deprived.
Yeah, because as soon as we say, well, we can't have this, then the mind goes into overdrive, and the more you want it, right? Because you now put a little stop on yourself. So I think that's a great idea. And one thing too that I've learned in going through the grocery stores, in terms of the list, I don't necessarily, have a list. It's probably a good idea if I did, because I still might add a few extras there, but I'm more mindful of what I want. And so I go to get the items that I want. I don't go down the junk food aisles because I know I will be tempted. And if I see it, it's going to be in my cart. Right. So I try to set myself up for success. Now, I'm not always successful. And I think it's really important on that note to not beat ourselves up. I talk a lot about the inner critic, and we are our own worst critics, and we can be awful to ourselves. And if we, let's say, break that restriction that we have implemented on ourselves, we tend to really go overboard. And it's like, oh, why did you do that? What were you thinking? And you're sabotaging yourself. All kinds of things that are negative that actually make us feel worse. So those days where you decided to have a burger, well, whatever, it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
If you know that you're having a burger every day and fries, that's not helpful to you, right? And so you know that you need to put some kind of structure into place. But if it's once in a while and you satiate that craving, then that's okay. So yeah, Rosemarie, what kind of tips can you give us that can help us not want to have that burger and fries every single day?
Okay, so what I do is I encourage people to get to know your food again. Look at what it looks like, it feels like, it tastes like, and think about the sensations that you get from preparing it. So when people actually follow, because when I do the meal plan, I also have recipes. So it makes it simple. So it's so funny that the feedback that I get from clients is that, oh my gosh, I had forgotten what a sweet potato felt like, or for our American friends, what yams felt like. I'd forgotten what it looked like to cut through a carrot. You know what I mean? And it's things like that when you slow it down. And when you appreciate the tastes of everything, because what you're going to have to do is, a lot of people, we have to unlearn what our body likes. That's not necessarily good for us. And I talk to people about, have some healthy hints about the two brains. We have two brains. Everybody has two brains in our systems, and we don't have to be a freak of nature to have two brains. And one is obviously the one in our head, and the other one is the one in our stomach.
Yeah.
And so it's so interesting. We keep hearing people talking about, oh, it's in the gut, it's in the gut. And what we're talking about is that there is a biome in your gut. So there's an environment in your gut that needs good bacteria to help metabolize and break down foods and give you the nutrients that you need to flow into your bloodstream. And when you fill your stomach with unhealthy foods or unhealthy choices, it's giving the bad bacteria the advantage over the good bacteria. And when the bad bacteria starts growing, so it's saying, I want more sugar, I want more fries, I want more burgers, then what it does is it speaks to the stomach brain. And that then is connected by the vagus nerve that goes up to your brain and says, I need more carbs, and I need more grease, and I need more sugar. And then it just overtakes you. So one of the ways to unlearn some of that is to slow down the process. And so I encourage meditation, prayer, mindfulness when it comes to food, because it is a mind and body and spirit connection. And once you slow things down, when you appreciate what food looks like and you get used to the taste of foods, there are some tricks that are in the book to give people an actual practical guide to actually break the habit of liking foods that aren't healthy for us. But just in layman's terms, and just to quickly go over it, there are ways of breaking those habits. And once you start to break the habits, if you can stick to it for at least 3 weeks to 4 weeks, then you've attempted to break the habit. And it becomes an easier thing to do, an easier practice. So that's a part of it.
And you have to just give it a try, So I think we overwhelm ourselves and think, oh my God, I can never have that food again, whatever it is, the favorite that you love to have that is not necessarily good for you. And that puts us off completely, because it's like, well, I never can have that. Well, then I'll start tomorrow instead of today. And then you keep on postponing it. But, I think that if you just make it, well, for today, for 24 hours, if I can just not have sugar, right, or the dairy or, wine, whatever it is, I think if you can just try 24 hours, then you get through the 24 hours, you can reward yourself. And then the next day you start again, another 24 hours. And then by the end of, let's say, 7 days, like you have accomplished that. And it wasn't as difficult because you broke it down. I find that that actually has worked for me. I love pizza. Like I am a pizza girl, love my pizza. I love a thin crust pizza. And I used to eat pizza, oh my gosh, weekly, several times a week. And I was wondering like why I was gaining weight, right? So, okay, I had to reassess and I thought, well, okay, so there's a habit here. And the more of the carb, through the pizza, I'd want more sugar. I would crave sugar. I would crave sweets. I'd crave more carbs. I would crave wine to go along with the pizza. And that just put me in a really negative cycle. And I had to make a conscious decision to actually move away from that. And I feel great doing that. Now, I will still break down and have a pizza, once in a while. But I've come a long way. And there are so many people right now who can relate to what I'm going to say is that there was a time when there was no way I thought I could ever give up my pizza. Like that just was not going to happen, right? But if you just try a little bit, and you get through that 24-hour period, it's like, hey, that wasn't so bad at all. And then when you wake up and you feel less bloated and you start to feel better and you start to have more energy, I find that that is so encouraging, right? So let's talk a little bit about the energy from the foods that we eat, because I think so many people, again, are maybe having a little bit too much of the sodium content and all of the ready-made foods or the preservatives that do not feel good, all the chemical additives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's so true that it's amazing when you give in to some of these cravings. Like, for example, if you're craving sugar, then that means that the body is yearning for good fats, healthy fats. If you actually get into the omega-3, 6, and 9, especially the omega-3s, like from avocado or olive oil or olives or, nuts and seeds, unrefined, unprocessed, unsalted, unbaked. If you're eating like the raw seeds, nuts and seeds, and the good healthy fats that come from avocado, what that does is it provides a satisfaction to your stomach and it quiets the stomach brain from wanting the sugar. Because every time you have a craving for something, it means that the body's lacking something. And that's usually what it is. Now, the funny thing is, and actually the challenging thing is a lot of people think if I need energy, I'm going to drink a cup of coffee and I'm going to have something sweet. And of course, we all know that when you have something sweet, you have to crash about half an hour to an hour later. When you have coffee, you're going to have a crash as well. Now, I know people are talking about, the super coffee now with fat in it and all of that.
Yep.
I'm not a coffee person, but hey, I'm not gonna kill it because if it works for you, cool. No judgment here. But what I find is with energy, you get so much more energy from good food, especially when it has fiber. It has an interesting taste, and it also has something that takes care of either the salt instinct or the sugar instinct or the sour.
So you were talking about how, okay, so if we're craving sugar, then that means that the body wants fat. So what about if we're craving salt, more of the savory side? What is our body craving?
Okay, if you're craving salt, then it means that something is out of whack. So yeah, when the body is craving salt, it means that two things. One is you're dehydrated. The other one is that you are under a lot of stress. And when your body is under stress, the brain emits cortisol. Actually, the adrenal glands emit cortisol, and the adrenal glands are located like tiny little hats on top of your kidneys. And when cortisol is flowing, it means it raises your blood pressure. So if you're craving salt, it means that you need to increase your flight or fight response. But it's also not a good thing because it could be even raising your blood pressure even more, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But it's so interesting how the body is so connected, the mind and the gut. We have the neurotransmitters in the gut, and there's always this communication happening. So I think we are now better equipped to understand that communication and start to be more receptive on what we can do for the body. as we continue to move forward.
The other thing too is that people forget is that if you drink water, water is so important to stay hydrated, because sometimes your body is telling you, I'm feeling hungry, but you're actually feeling thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
And so a good rule of thumb is, if you feel hungry and you know you've eaten a meal within like a 4-hour window before that, or 3 to 4 hour window, you know you're not necessarily hungry again. So drink water, drink a glass of plain water with nothing in it, and then wait 15 minutes. If you're still feeling hungry after that, then go ahead and eat. And that's always a rule of thumb. It's about slowing everything down.
Buying yourself a little bit of time, letting the brain catch up. The hypothalamus, where it's like, telling your brain that you're not quite satiated yet. It takes a little bit of time for that to kick in, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're going to take a break here on the Mindset Mentor, and we'll be back with more ways to optimize mind, body, and spirit through holistic nutrition with my guest, Rosemarie Havsom. Stay tuned. We'll be back here on Sauga 960 AM. Well, hello and welcome back. You're listening to the Mindset Mentor. This is Sauga 960 AM, and you are getting your mindset workout. Today, we're going to help you optimize mind, body, and spirit through holistic nutrition. And there's such an incredible link to, energy through nutrition, how we feed and fuel our body, which can really help us have a better life. We have more energy. So many people right now, too, are experiencing, I think, brain fog as we get older, or what have you, or hormonal imbalance. And so it's really becomes even more important, I think, to start taking care of ourselves, or better care of ourselves, and being mindful of the foods that we're putting into our body, and look for ways to improve our overall health and well-being. My guest today is a certified nutrition or holistic nutritionist, and she is also an expert when it comes to fitness. She's been in the industry for over 25 years. She has a great book called Surviving the Pandemic: Disgusting Remedies That Could Save Your Life. And of course, we all want to live, a healthy life. It's not just about longevity. It's about enjoying the quality of that life. So let's say hello again and continue the conversation with Rosemarie Havsom. So good to have you here. I want to talk about some specifics when it comes to learning how to manage stress as well. To really help us optimize mind, body, spirit. So any tips and tools that you have that can help us manage stress, especially in the middle of a pandemic, where so many people are really struggling right now with mental health concerns, through loss of job, or trying to reinvent themselves, or now finding themselves at home, in a house full of people where they're maybe used to the solitude of going to work. Sometimes work is a break for busy parents. Mm-hmm. And then to come home and now have to maybe work from home and be, a full-time parent 24/7, essentially. People are juggling, and it can really put a lot of strain.
That's true. This is a very unsettling time, just because we've never in our lifetime experienced something like this, where the entire world is affected by this unknown virus. So yeah, anxiety levels and mental health issues are very high right now. And one of the things that people need to remember is that we all need to take the time for self-care, because if you don't, you have nothing left. You have to fill your cup, and filling your cup means taking care of you. Mm-hmm. So that, especially for parents, you can't give what you don't have. So you need to take the time. And so something simple that people can do is go outside, maintain social distancing, but go outside. Mm-hmm. Even on a cloudy day, even on a cold day, but go outside during the daylight hours and stay out there for as long as you can. Go for a walk if you can, somewhere near nature, and relax. Because the act of going outside, what it does is, even when it's a cloudy day, the vitamin D is activated in our system from the sun, because the sun is here to light the sky, even though we're not feeling the heat of the sun. Mm-hmm. And what that does is it then stimulates serotonin, which is the happy hormone. So when the sunlight touches your skin, your face, your neck, your hands, it creates serotonin. And what serotonin does, it elevates your mood. then what it does is it transfers into melatonin. So then it regulates your sleep. And these are all of the things that you need to regulate and to actually fight against stress. Because if you're getting outside, you're changing your environment from the stress of maybe being in a home environment. If you're getting outside, you're getting the vitamin D, which is giving you the happy hormone of serotonin. And then you're actually getting a good night's sleep because you are regulating your internal biorhythm so that you're sleeping and getting a full sleep. Yeah. So those things are so important, as well as maintaining your hydration. Drink water. It will help you flush out any toxins that can be built up if you're not exactly eating the right things or drinking the right things or feeling the right thoughts. If you're drinking water throughout the day, you're flushing your system. I always like to say
cleansing.
Yes, exactly. So, and if you've got a pet, give your pet some love. Oh. If just hug somebody. If you're in a family environment, if you're on your own, then listen to soft, soothing music that doesn't have words in it, where you can relax. Practice meditation and prayer, whatever your faith is. Practice that, and eat well. Just take care of what you need to do to keep yourself healthy and happy. It's really important.
And all great advice, absolutely. And also if you are alone, just reach out to someone. Sometimes just a phone call with a familiar friend, familiar voice on the other side, just maybe someone to talk to vent to if you have to vent, is so beneficial. To help those feelings of loneliness. And then we, get into a decline, or people can start to get depressed, and it just continues. So if we can stop the cycle before it gets, further down, it's much more beneficial to our system. And, there's so many tools that we can do on a daily basis. And I love the idea of getting a good night's sleep. Sleep is so essential on so many levels, helping to build our immune system as we're sleeping. We're rejuvenated, our system, we're healing, we're allowing, the best restful sleep to come through, hopefully not a broken sleep. That's probably a good indicator for something else. And I wonder if bad nutrition or poor choices in the foods that we ate, can that actually keep us up at night as well?
Absolutely. You actually read my mind, because that's where I was going to next. Awesome. Absolutely. If you eat something that is high salt or high sugar or high fat, which is not a good fat, then it's going to keep you up at night, especially if you're eating later in the night as well. Because a lot of people, when you're feeling depressed, you're not going to be thinking about, I should eat after sunset or after 8 o'clock in the evening. You're going to just eat because it's an emotional exchange. It's an emotional reaction. So yes, eating the wrong kinds of foods can keep you up at night. And so you want to make sure that when you're eating, and you're eating the best kind of food, that you're giving your body a chance to digest it as well. So I'm all about, having a certain time that you cut off before you go to bed. Stop eating at a certain time.
Yeah. So what is that ideal time? Like the hours, how many hours before you go to bed should you not have a meal?
I like to tell people at least 4 hours. I myself practice intermittent fasting, and I love it. I don't do it all the time, but it's a great way to control your weight, especially if you've gained the COVID-15, or for some of us, the COVID-20.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I do the whole thing of like the 12 and 8. So what I do is there's an 8-hour window. So from 12 noon till 8 p.m. is your eating window. After that, nothing. And what that does is it actually puts your body into a fasting state, which is what the name is when we wake up every day. It's called breakfast, because we're breaking a fast. But if you're not fasting before you wake up, then the body is just like overworked. And it's a great way to give your organs a rest, because the thing that people don't talk about very much about intermittent fasting is that you're actually giving your system a time to rest. Especially now in North America, we're so much about snacking. I'm not really a fan of snacking, because even if you chew gum or suck on a mint or eat a salad or eat a hamburger, your stomach starts working right away.
Oh,
No
yeah.
matter how much or how little. The only thing that you can kind of get away with is drinking water. It's easier on the system because it's not a big churning, digesting, hydrochloric acid, all of that. So we need to give our bodies a break. So that's what I would recommend. 8-hour window to eat, and then the rest of the time, don't eat.
Yeah, I've actually tried the intermittent fasting as well. And, when I've done it, I don't do it all the time, but I certainly felt great doing it. And then it actually becomes less difficult the more you do it, I find. I remember once doing a 3-day fast, and I thought, oh, there's no way. There's no way I can do a 3-day fast. It's not going to happen. But I started off with the goal of 24 hours. And I'd already done a 24-hour fast before, probably a few times. But I'm like, all right, let's see if I can stretch this a little bit. Did the 24 hours. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go another 24, see if I can do that. So I did the next 24, and I was like, wow, I made it to 48 hours. I can't believe this. I was so proud of myself, right? I rewarded myself because again, it's the reward center of the brain, right? The dopamine release, which the body wants and craves more of, and it helps you reach your goals, right? But I decided, okay, let's see if I can do 3 days. And the third day was the easiest day.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. So what's the logic there? Why is that? What's happening in the body? Does it make any sense that the third day would be easier?
Absolutely, because when you first start out, it's like a shock to the system, and it's like, wait, what's happening? Where's my food? I don't like this. By the second day, it's starting to equalize, and by the third day, you're like, okay, the body has reached homeostasis because it said, okay, no food is coming in. Let's go to our stores, our fat stores, that we can utilize them to get our energy from, and provide glucose and oh my gosh, I can't say the word.
Glycogen?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
For the body to use. And that's what happens around the third day. Wow. Now, I know that a lot of religious groups, they do long-term fasting, and that was something that was in our church too. And I'm just like, I don't really know about the whole fasting thing, but it was because it was done because you had to do it.
Yeah.
But now that I'm, an adult, it's like, okay. I mean, I didn't do it as a child. I mean, as a young person, early 20s or something. But I was disciplined. I wanted to just eat because all my friends are eating. So it's a great practice if you can do it, for sure.
Yeah. And I think, again, start small, try the first day, see how that works for you. But I know such a huge improvement for myself and even more energy. And it feels counterintuitive that you're not putting all these calories in. And so why do you have more energy, right? It's like, interesting, but you do, and you feel better. And you have to really, I think, tune into your body and know what works. Not every program is going to work for everyone the same way. So I think it's really good to really check in and see how you're feeling. Think about, maybe keep a food diary. Is that something that you would recommend? Because see if you have any sensitivities to foods, or why did I feel so bloated this morning when I felt fine the day before, and what did I eat?
Yeah, that's absolutely crucial. As a part of the Havsom Whole Body Health Program, keeping a food diary, and that's why I created the 30-day journals, so that when people are going through the program, they'll be like, okay, hated today was hard, and just record it so that at the end of the 30 days, you can look back at it and say, oh, look how far I've come.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to talk more about the 30-day journal. I love that. When we come back, we're going to take a tiny break here on Sauga 960. You're listening to The Mindset Mentor. We'll be back. Welcome back to The Mindset Mentor. I'm Tania Kolar. We're continuing the conversation on how to optimize mind, body, and spirit through holistic nutrition. Rosemarie Havsom is joining me. She has created a program. She's got a 30-day journal, which is great. We're going to dive into that. She also has a book called Surviving the Pandemic, Disgusting Remedies That Could Save Your Life. And we're going to talk about some of those disgusting remedies that are going to be good for you. So first, I want to delve into, Rosemarie, that your 30-day journal. So what is the journal for? And let's talk a little bit also about Have Some in particular. So this is your Have Some 30-day journal. I know there's an acronym there. Can you share that with everyone?
Sure. So HAVSOM is an acronym and it stands for Health and Vitality Stimulating Our Minds. And what that means is that in that title alone, it talks about your mind, your body, and your spirit. Because you don't have health if you don't have vitality, which is your quality of life.
Mm.
You don't have health if you don't have a healthy mind. And you have to stimulate your mind in order to keep it healthy. It's all about lifelong learning. So those three factors go together to create this acronym called Have Some. And then again, like I said before, I want everybody to have some of what I have so
Yeah.
that they can then share it and pass it on and pass it on.
Oh, I love it. It's so
Like,
funny you said. I was literally just thinking that I need to have me some of that. Oh my
yeah,
God, I love it. Okay, so let's talk about the 30-day journal and how that can help us, move forward and to make better choices or maybe to eliminate some of the unhealthy choices.
okay. So what I did was, in answer to a lot of clients' questions about how to make the most of the Have Some program, the
Mhm.
Have Some Whole Body Health program. And I said, okay, yeah, just do this, this, and this, and this. I gave them the pieces of the program, but then I realized, okay, they're going to need a little bit more to keep them encouraged and engaged and accountable. So I developed the 30-day manual. Should I use my props?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right.
All right,
So,
let me see if
so
I
uh,
show them.
Rosemary is going to show us right here. And so, can you just tell us for everyone that's listening that can't see this, where is this available?
This is available now on Amazon,
Mhm.
as is the Surviving the Pandemic booklet as well.
Awesome.
So I can link that up if they want to get a hold of me. It's just message me on Instagram or Facebook. It's Have Some Nutrition, which is HAV for Victor, SOM for Mother, Nutrition, all one word. And then I can link you up to how you can get the book.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
the journal was made so that people can actually go from day to day to day. And it has positive affirmations in there and also has some questions to key into what it is that you're going through in the process of transforming your life. Because it's all about the first 30 days of transforming your life and your lifestyle. So it's not a diet. I am so anti diet that I can't even say how much I hate the word diet. Because to me, any word that has the word die in it is not a good word. And we need something that is more holistic and something that makes sense to people that they can use. So the journal was developed for that purpose. And once somebody can actually write out their feelings, because there's also studies that show that when you write something down, you have a better chance of sticking to it, remembering it, recalling it. And that's so vital to when you're making such a life-changing step of changing your life. Because we all joke about, the COVID-15 or the COVID-20, but there are some people that have serious chronic illnesses like high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, weight management issues. And this program works for them. And for many of them, they can actually get off the medications that keeps them, enslaved to a life of prescriptions. Now, it depends on each person, but it is possible to get off your blood pressure meds and type 2
Wow.
meds.
I mean, that really is huge relief for a lot of people, particularly if they're stuck taking this. And there's a lot of side effects that can happen through some medications. And of course, you want to speak to your doctor before you make any
Absolutely.
adjustments. But I think that is a beautiful thing, and it provides a lot of hope to people because I think we can get stuck in a pattern of feeling hopeless and helpless to change the situation. But you're never helpless and hopeless. There's always time for change and the possibility for change and the possibility to be better and to want more for yourself. And we need to make that commitment to ourselves that we deserve it. And I love the idea of writing it down. Be committed, lock it in for yourself. And again, be kind if you break that commitment a little bit here and there, right? Just get right back to it, and know that you can move forward in a way that can really help the mind, body, spirit. So you can live a better, more fulfilled life. It's not just about, again, that the longevity, it's about the quality of life. And when you're struggling, when you don't feel healthy and you're constantly exhausted and tired, it affects not only you, but everyone around you. And we can all be, in a better environment if we take care of ourselves. You are number one, and give yourself the love and attention that you deserve. You absolutely deserve to have that. So I want to quickly talk about your book and some of those disgusting remedies that could help save our lives. What are those, and how disgusting are we talking?
Well, okay. So these are all food-based, disgusting remedies. So it's the things that you don't necessarily want to eat. For example, I'll just give you a quick one. For example, garlic. Garlic is, it's great in a recipe, but nobody wants to have it raw. Nobody wants to have it and then reek of garlic breath forever and a day. But that's one of the remedies, because it's an amazing antifungal, antiviral food, and it is so powerful. And then mixed with the right kind of other ingredients, you can actually provide yourself a great antioxidant and antibacterial and antiviral remedy that I take myself to, especially in this day and age of COVID. I don't want to take any chances. I want to make sure that my immune system is at top notch, and it also stimulates the creation of a stronger immune response.
Interesting, right? It's so funny as you're talking. I was thinking about my father. My father would put garlic. This sounds so gross. He would put garlic in his tea. And I thought that is the most disgusting thing. And even worse, he would put it in his cereal. Yeah, like milk and garlic. I'm like, yeah, that's hardcore.
Yeah, that is hardcore. But I bet he's super healthy.
Well, you know what? Listen, so my dad was extremely healthy, until about his 70s, and my dad he passed from cancer. But before that, when my dad was younger, he was never sick. He never had a cold. If he had a cold, it lasted for 24 hours, and then he was back to normal. Where we all, the rest of us, we're out for like a week, right? So we weren't doing the garlic. My mother didn't put the garlic in her tea either, but my dad, he did believe in the healing properties of garlic. And so it's a great tip for people to try. It's always worth a shot. Try it out, see if it works for you, even though it might be disgusting.
Yeah. We also have raw onion in there too, so it is pretty gross. But it works. It works. It's so funny because, people, just to kind of tie it all together, people forget that there's so much in your kitchen and in your pantry that's really good for you that you probably haven't even looked at. Some of the spices that we use, some of the herbs that we use just to season up whatever our food is. That's actually something that's really good for us.
Yeah, like I heard the turmeric is really great, right? Antioxidants and all that kind of stuff.
It's really good for blood pressure too, for controlling it. The only caution is if somebody has any sort of like blood clotting issues, then they shouldn't take turmeric unless they've gotten the okay from their doctor, because it can really make your blood, it can make it harder for it to clot. So if you have bleeding issues, then it's not good.
Yeah, so there's so much information available, in your book and in the journal. So I think that's a great way for people to, if they want the help, to get the help, and they can read it and refer back to it, because we can learn things and sometimes we unlearn them very quickly because we're not putting it into practice. So I love the idea of your journal where people can keep a track of what's going on. And it's much easier for the brain now to start to process that as a way of life, as that lifestyle versus just for that quick moment or for a week or what have you.
Right.
And so we don't have a lot of time left. So before we take or completely break the show, I wanted to talk about your mom. I know that part of your inspiration of getting in this business had to do with your mom and seeing her suffer. Can you tell us about that experience?
Sure. As I said, when I was in England, where I'm from, my mom and my dad everything was organic, especially my mom, because she was a nurse. So everything for her was about health and wellness. And when we came to Canada, things kind of changed. I mean, people get older. It's a different kind of stress level here.
Mm-hmm.
And what I noticed is that my mother had difficulties with managing her stress. And the way that it manifested is that she got a lot of illnesses that came across because of it. But she wasn't really like an exerciser the way that we all were. She would maybe go for walks, strolls, I would call it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the thing that I think really took her and depleted her immune system was stress and the lack of knowing how to manage it, and then high blood pressure. And then she just had a series of illnesses because of that and complications from that. And to the point where she suffered a stroke at age 56. And that's not far away from how old I am now. So it's a very sobering thought to realize that somebody could have a life-threatening illness or condition that comes out of the blue, but really there was a number of milestones that indicated that it wasn't going to be a good outcome if there wasn't a lifestyle change. So my wish is that everybody has the opportunity to learn simple ways of dealing with stress, to live healthier, to enjoy food and to enjoy one another, because we're not on this planet forever. And you want the time that you're on this planet to be enjoyable and healthy and vibrant.
Yes, you absolutely deserve to have that life. And sometimes we give up and think it's not possible for us, but there is absolutely that potential for you to make better choices for the overall health, for your overall health and well-being. And again, today we're helping you optimize your mind, body, spirit through holistic nutrition. And if you would like to learn more, check out Rosemarie's book on Amazon. It's Surviving the Pandemic, Disgusting Remedies That Could Save Your Life. And her journal is also available on Amazon. So you might want to check that out, and have a little bit of help and not feel like you're alone. I think the battle is sometimes that, it's too hard. It's so difficult. Start small and always make sure that you reward yourself when you do achieve those small goals. Those little micro goals, they all lead to those big macro goals. We know how to reward ourselves when something big happens, but those little things we tend to ignore. But if you can really start to recognize and appreciate those little successes, again, you're going to create more dopamine in the brain, and that is the reward center of the brain. That's that feel-good chemical. And the more you create, the more you crave, and you'll easily get to the next steps. But you do have to take that first step. I always encourage you to take that first step. So I want to say thank you so much, Rosemarie. It's such a pleasure to have you here. And thank you for inspiring us to get into better health, overall, again, through mind, body, spirit. It's been so great having you here today.
Thank you so much, Tania. It was my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Well, that's a wrap for today's Mindset Mentor. Make sure that you tune in next Saturday at 11 a.m. And until then, make sure you continue to work out your mindset. Don't forget that your mindset is like a muscle that needs to be stretched and conditioned and really worked on, right? So you can do it. So stay tuned, and we'll be back with more here on Sauga 960 AM.